All right. Hey guys. So I know I was going to do this last week, but I didn't have the schedule to be able to do it. So I'm doing this week. So welcome to my Ubase live stream for February. I hope that everyone's doing well. I'm going to play a little bit of music to get it started, and then we'll go from there. Okay. All right. So this is the live stream for February once again. So on this live stream, you can ask questions in the chat if you want. If you have any questions about the U-bass or any questions about the bass guitar or the upright bass, just let me know and say hi in the chat if you just want to say hi. And I'm just going to play some songs and also answer some questions and talk about some bass lines that I've heard lately that are pretty cool. So I usually play an original of mine called Green Tea. Um, Pretty much every live stream, it's kind of a tradition at this point. So I think I'll start with that and just wait and see if you guys have any questions that you want to put in the chat. So here's Green Tea. If you haven't heard it already, it's an original song. All right, guys. So welcome to the chat. If you're just coming on here, say hello. Let me know who's watching, and if you have any questions, let me know there as well. Where are you guys from? So today I'm playing the Kala Journeyman bass ukulele. Well, this is the U bass, and this is my favorite one to play most of the time because I like the metal flat wound strings. But a lot of times U basses will have polyurethane strings like this one on top here. Yes, it's a double neck, but a lot of times they're more like this. But how's the audio? Is it coming through okay, or is it too loud, too quiet? Just let me know in the chat. And we'll talk about just some different things. So one thing today, I do teach lessons sometimes. The video is in 44 pixels. Yeah, so I don't know why. I think it's my internet. It's either YouTube or it's the internet or the combination. But yeah, it's pretty rough sometimes visually. It doesn't work all that well, and I still haven't figured out why. Everything that I've tried has not worked. So unfortunately, I just have to put up with the video quality not being great. So I'm recording a second version of this so that for the people that watch the replay, they'll have a different angle, but it'll be slightly clearer. Yeah, it's a pain, but hopefully it works anyway. Every now and then I also have a little bit of audio issues too, so I just want to make sure that the audio is okay. But I'm hoping eventually I can figure out why it does that and stop it from doing that. But until then, I apologize, guys. It's been like this for a few years, so I appreciate the feedback though. But hopefully it'll get better during the stream, and if not, then you know, thanks for watching and hanging out. But is there anything that you guys would like to hear, or any questions that you have about the U bass or the bass in general? Could be the upright bass. Whoops, got to move the right direction. Or the electric bass as well. And if you have questions about any of those, just let me know in the chat. Or questions about a specific bass line that you're working on. Or you know, anything like that. So earlier today, I had a student that was working on a song, and I really like the bass line on the song. So I'm going to see if I can get that to work without taxing the computer too much. And basically, I'm going to pull up a YouTube video and try to skip around in it to find the part of it that I want to play. So let's see. Okay, there it is. I just gotta add the word bass to it so I find the bass line of the song. And then I'm just gonna kind of skip around in it. But the song is called O Tango Suerte, and I'm gonna probably really mess up the artist's name, Masayoshi Takanaka. Anyway, it's got a cool bass line about let's see, a little bit less than a minute into it. So it's got this kind of, let's see, I can't remember it now. There it is. Okay. So now I've kind of reviewed it a little bit. Here it is. I just thought that was a really cool bass line, so I wanted to share that with you guys. So there's a guy that transcribed this out and wrote it all out, and so I pulled up his transcription basically, but it's on the bottom of his YouTube video. But this song kind of uses some common shapes, and it's in the key of D. But he goes back and forth between like a D, then he goes to an A, and then he walks up to the octave A from the F sharp. So, and once again, it's O Tengo Suerte. And I found this once again through a student, and he had an interesting story of how he found it. He found this artist through Primus because they both made a concept album about the same story, which is kind of strange. And both of them have cool bass lines, so that's kind of cool. I think my favorite part is that little sliding into the 11th fret and then going to the 9th fret on the G string. But that particular part of the neck, gets used a lot in songs in the key of D and sometimes the songs in the key of A. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that line because it's a really cool one. All right. Hi, William. Appreciate. Sorry, not William. Hi, Keith. Thank you for stopping by, and I appreciate the comment. So I'm glad that beginners course helped. So that one was a long time in the making. I did a live stream like this in 2020, I believe, and I kind of went through everything that was in that course because I had it all laid out, and that video had gotten a whole bunch of views. So I was like, okay, I need to flesh it out and make it a full course. And so that's kind of how that beginner's course kind of happened. And I have two versions of it online. One is like a 2-on-1 video, and the other version is a playlist. So you might see one that's like the ultimate beginner U-bass kind of video, and then the other one it's titled a little bit differently. It's bass ukulele mini course, but they're the same course. It's just the difference is if you like it all in one video where you can just kind of change to different chapters, or if you like having a playlist where you're actually changing to separate videos. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. And on Patreon, I have the PDF version of it, and you have to be a paid patron for that. But I hope that course is helping people either way. I try to cover everything from how to hold the instrument to how to play some basic exercises to how to approach making a bass line using scales and arpeggios and basic rhythm. So thank you for that. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. But this bass line, I'm going to mention it one more time, O Tengo Suerte. And once again, this is the Masayoshi Takanaka piece. I'm not sure who played bass on this, but it's just a very cool bass line anyway. So here's this groove one more time. And it just does that a few times before going into the next section. But what I like about this is it uses different 16th note rhythms. So on beat 1, you're literally playing a dotted 8th note, so 1 E and then when you play the open string, you're playing on the after that, 1 E and Then the second beat, you're playing every 16th note in that, 2 E and so that's kind of cool. Then from there, you're holding that note out to beat 3, so there's a little bit of syncopation here, and then you're playing the 5th fret note, the 5th fret D note, so it's on 5th fret on the A string. Anyway, you play that on the E of beat 3. So our rhythm, beat 1, we've got 1 E and beat 2, we have 2 E and beat 3, we're still holding out that last note into beat 3. So we've just got 3 E and So nothing on beat 3, but on the E after beat 3, we have a note. and then we hit another one on the of that, and then for the last beat 4, we have 4 E and So altogether, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So it's kind of cool because it just uses a lot of different 16th note rhythms back to back. And altogether it sounds like this: 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So I just think that's pretty cool. And then the next measure has that cool slide thing. Very similar rhythm. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E until that point. 3 E and 4 E and So same rhythm for the first 2 beats. 1 E and 2 E and then we rest on beat 3, and then we play the E after beat 3. E and then you hit a note on the again, and then instead of doing 16th notes on the last beat, instead of 4 E and you're playing 4 and, just 2 notes, 4 and. But kind of the pacing of this is just kind of cool. Just kind of how it like holds a note out, has some quick notes, then has some syncopated notes, then has some quick notes, and that's the first half. And then it has the same thing happening in the second measure when it's holding out a note, some fast notes in the middle, a little bit of syncopation, and then you're doing eighth notes at the end to round it off. So I almost like it. It's almost like a sentence or something, or a call and response. So the call is this whole, right? So the rhythm is like different on that one, but only slightly. The second half is almost the same until the end of it. And then the notes are a little bit more spaced out there. So I kind of like a lot of things about that. Just the writing is really good. The spacing of the notes and the phrasing is just really interesting. So that's a cool thing. If you want to check out that song, there's a section in here that has hits that's kind of all over the place. I wish you could hear it first, but I'm afraid if I play it back, it'll just kind of like mess up the recording. But it's another 16th note kind of thing. 1 E and a 2 E, 3 and 4 E is kind of the rhythm of it. But it has this like repetitive kind of thing going on with the notes. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and so it's kind of interesting. And then the next measure is a 5/4 measure, but it's only because it has a rest at the end of it. So it's like the measure itself is just a really syncopated measure, and then it has a rest at the end. And the rhythm on this one, you don't play beat 1, but you play the E and the of 1. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. So that's kind of weird. Is like you have the same rhythm all the way through until just the last part. So let me see if I can play that part. 1 E and 1 E and 2 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. Oh, sorry, not 4 E. 4 E and okay. I'll have to play it back to back to really get the idea of this. It's a little weird. Or sorry. So it's one of these things that's kind of tricky for me. It's like I can think about the rhythm, or I can think about the notes when the rhythm's doing this much. 1 E and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Okay, I almost have it. It's kind of tricky. I'm gonna try it one more time and then probably abandon it. 1 E and 2 E and 1 3 and 4 E and so that's the first half, and the second half is 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so let's see if I can do it back to back. 1 E and 2 1 E and a 2 E and a. Or yeah, it's a very unique thing, but then it repeats that like 3 times and the whole band hits it, and it's a lot faster than that. It's more like so it's more like that. And that's why it's kind of hard to play slowly, is because if you kind of get the sound in your head, you can kind of do it. But it's a very interesting rhythm and it's very cool. All right, so I think you said your name was Keith and not William, but you said, have you checked out the new Flight Mini Jazz Bass? I've seen it at Uke Republic. So I went there recently, and they actually had one of those on the wall. I played it a little bit. I was thinking about doing a review of it, so hopefully I'll be doing that soon. I imagine it's a lot like the other Flight bass that has the more beach looking theme to it. You know, there's one that has like this it's a real nice finish on that one. It's got like a sort of sand color, but then it sort of has a gradient into a blue color. And that one was pretty cool, but I have a review on that. I imagine that this one's going to be similar in a lot of ways, but the pickups might make it a lot different. So I'll just have to play it and see. But yeah, I have seen those. They look really cool. All right. So hopefully I'll have something. I don't want to put a time frame on it, but I'm still planning on doing the Kala solid body review video as well. And I was thinking it might be kind of cool while I'm up there to compare the two. But yeah, those are cool. Okay, so I think I've kind of beaten this song to death. It requires a little bit more work on my part to really be able to play through what I'm explaining. But the rhythms are really cool in it. So if you get a chance to check it out, the bass comes in at like 40 seconds or 45 seconds or something. But it's called O, like OH, and then an exclamation point, and then Tengo Suerte, Tengo Suerte. So just check that out, give it a listen, and there's a guy that transcribed it, so you could search the word bass after it and find that if you're interested in it. Okay, so let's see what else we've got in the chat. As an elderly person wanting to learn bass, is the one you're playing good to learn? So when you say as a elderly person, that can mean a lot of different things. That might be different from a younger person getting into it. So the question is, do you have arthritis or something of that nature? Because if you do, this particular one has metal strings, and so you may want to try one of the ones that has polyurethane strings. They're more like rubber bands. You push them down a lot easier. This is probably, if it's the case that you think your hand might tire out really quickly, or if you have pain in the hand, you don't have to push down as hard on this one. So getting one of the models that has the polyurethane strings might be nice. So the ones, this one right here came with round wound strings, and they're just a little bit harder to hold down. So if it were me, I'd recommend, if it were for me, I'd recommend these. Because you don't have to push down very hard. The only thing is it's weirder on the plucking. So it's not harder. It's just like, you know, if you're playing on rubber bands, you know, the tension is a lot less. Like, see how easy it is for me to bend the string? Whereas on this one, it's like, it doesn't bend anywhere near as far. Right? So they both bend, but it's a lot easier to bend that one. So yeah, that's kind of my recommendation is for something like that. It might be easier if you don't have to push down as hard. And there are a lot of models that have the polyurethane strings. They usually have a certain name. A lot of them are made by Aquila. So if you hear like the Thunder Gut strings, the Thunder Black strings, Thunder Brown strings, anything like that, those are normally polyurethane strings. And there are a couple other ones. So if you're like looking at a description and it says it has either rubber strings, polyurethane strings, or one of those brands of string, like Aquila Thunder Guts, that's a type of string. Aquila also makes what are they? The Thunder Reds, Thunder Blacks, and then there's another brand that makes the Pohoehoes, Poehoehoe, and those strings are basically very similar to these. They're polyurethane strings. People call them rubber strings all the time, and I call them rubber strings sometimes. If you look at my videos, those are the strings that I'm talking about. But I do think those would be better than metal strings if that's the case. All right. So the only disadvantage, if were coming from another instrument to the bass, you would have gotten used to how like plucking a string is pretty straightforward. Your finger just goes right through it. And then on those rubber band strings, once again, they might be a little bit stickier feeling. So it's like you have to play lighter, if that makes sense, so that your finger doesn't kind of like stick to the string. And then the other downside to them is they have a little bit more string noise. So when you're moving around on them, you might hear more noise. Although the round wound strings have a different kind of string noise, and a lot of it too. These are the flat wound strings. I put these on after buying the bass, and they have a lot less string noise because they're smooth strings that have they have a nylon core, but they have metal wrapped around them. So, and the way it's wrapped, it doesn't create the ridges that the round wound strings have. So you don't hear like a sound when you're moving around as much. Let me think if I have anything with round wound strings on to give an idea. Nothing within reach. Oh well. But round wound strings are like normal electric bass strings, and then flat wounds. A lot of upright basses have flat wound strings, so they're more smooth if you move your hand over them. So hopefully that helps. If you have any other questions, let me know. But I'd look for one that has rubber strings, polyurethane strings, or one of those I mentioned, just kind of in the description of it. If you're looking online, and if you're talking to somebody, if you're seeing them in person, you can tell if it has the rubber strings or not, because they'll feel like rubber bands. You know, metal strings they'll have metal. you know. But yes, I would recommend those. I know a lot of people that some people switch to U-bass because they played upright bass for a long time and damaged their wrists, or just over time, just things happen. And so they like that they can still play bass, even though it's a totally different sized instrument. They can still play the same bass lines and enjoy getting to perform and do this, that, and the other without the wrists hurting. And the cool thing about the polyurethane strings is they sound a little bit more like an upright bass than the metal strings do. So if that's the sound you're after, you'll get that sound out of those as well. Okay. All right. So does anybody have a favorite bass line that they're just curious about how it's played or anything like that? All right. Okay, so the tuning is EADG, same as the upright bass or the electric bass. If it's in tune. Sounds like my upright bass is a little bit flat, but it's literally the same tuning as electric bass or upright bass. Same octave and everything. So they just, basically the way they get that to work is they make the strings a little bit thicker than the strings would be on the other instruments. So the thicker strings can vibrate literally at the same pitch. So the downside to that is that the smaller instrument doesn't project like an upright bass. So you can hear it, but if you're playing with an ensemble, you'd really want to be plugged into an amplifier, or else you won't really be able to hear it over the other people. So that's kind of the only thing about it, is playing acoustically, they're very quiet, especially with the rubber strings. You'll almost always be plugging it in to be heard. Like, you can still hear it, you know, like if I'm playing by myself in a quiet room, you can still hear it. But if a ukulele player or a room full of players, or even a guitar player playing with you, you wouldn't be able to hear it over them. Not well, at least. Not well enough to matter. So that's why I have this one plugged in through an amp. You might be able to hear a little bit of the amp in the background. All right, I'm gonna see if I can make up a song where I use a backbeat and do chords, but usually doing those like multiple things at once, it's easier to work something out first. So I'm just gonna see if I can kind of like start bass line that has that, and then try to work a melody into it. So let's just see what happens. So the money riff. Yeah, we can talk through that real quick if you want to. So when you say the money riff, do you just mean the main part? Yeah, so we can just go through the first part of that. So basically, you start on the 2nd fret of the A string. Then you go to the 4th fret on the G string. And then I drag my finger through to the 4th fret of the D string. And then all the way to the 2nd fret on the A string. So that's the first part. So once again, 2nd fret on the A string, 4th fret on the G string, 4th fret on the D string, but I got there by taking this hand and dragging through. And then you end up back on the 2nd fret on the A string with that rhythm. 1, 2, and 3. And you're kind of swinging that hand. Okay? And then you've got the 2nd fret on the E string, the open A string, the 2nd fret on the A string, and the open D string. And you start over. So the hard thing about it is the rhythm's a little weird. It's in 7/4, which means if you were counting the downbeats, you count 7 of them before it starts over again. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then at some point, he just replaces the first part with. So instead of going. So I guess it would be. It would be that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back in. So that's money, get away, get a good job with more pay, you're okay. So it's on the get a good job with. So that part, he changes it up, but everything else is just that riff until you get to the and it goes back into the main riff after that. So that part, if you're curious about it, is the 4th fret on the D string. Then you wait a second and play it again. And not a full second, you just wait a little bit longer than some of the other notes. So 4, 4, 4, 2. So 4th fret on the D string 2 times. Then you've got the 4th fret on the A string. Then the 2nd fret on the E string. So that's that part. Okay. And then after that, I'll play it this way. I played it slightly differently before, but after that, we're gonna play an open A string. We're gonna play the 4th fret on the A string, 4th fret on the D string, 3rd fret on the D string. Then we're gonna play the 2nd fret on the D string, followed quickly by the 2nd fret on the A string, and then the open E string. So we've got so far. That was that 2, 2 open. And so the last 4 notes are just 3rd fret on the E string, open A string, 2nd fret on the A string, and open D string. And you go back to the first riff. So get away, get a good job with more pay, you're okay. Money, it's a crime. What is it? I'll just forget about the words for a second. New car, caviar, 4-star well, back to the riff. So that's like 3/4 of the song is just doing those parts. Then at some point you get to the solo section where you do this riff like 8 times or something, and then you basically move that pattern up to the 7th fret instead of down at the 2nd fret. Do that a few times.